What's on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering. We have a university professor literally putting their hands on a student for the crime of wearing a Make America Great Again hat in her class, and a whole bunch of fallout leading to Trump actually defunding some of these woke universities. It's been a while since we saw a good woke meltdown, and I thought it's kind of, a glum week, spring weather here in Wisconsin. It's been snowy and rainy every day. Why not let us all make fun of this unhinged liberal teacher and some of the massive fallout, including the Trump administration freezing $1 billion to Cornell and $790 million for Northwestern due to radical woke nonsense on their campuses. These teachers are afraid. The money is drying up, and I'm absolutely here for it, and I hope you are too. Let's get into it. Of course, this video is sponsored by Aura. Bank of America recently announced a data breach, and here's what's really disturbing. They didn't tell anybody for months. On average, it takes a company 277 days to report a breach. Your personal data could have been exposed months ago, and you're just hearing about it now. This isn't the first breach of Bank of America this year, and last year Citigroup and JP Morgan Chase both announced breaches, and X just had a 200 million records reportedly breached just the other day. This is why it's really important time to be talking about today's sponsor, Aura. Aura alerts me if they find my phone number, email, social security number, or anything like that on the dark web, and I've been using it now for almost a year, and I absolutely love the service. Your bank could be breached right now, and they won't tell you. They don't have to tell you for up to 9 months from now. Aura alerts me anytime they find my information out there. They're going to let me know fast if anyone tries to use my information to access credit or bank accounts, and give me $5 million, up to $5 million identity theft insurance should the worst happen. Plus, they have a whole bunch of other amazing features. You can go to my link at aura.com/thequartering to try 14 days for free right now. That'll be enough time for Aura to find out if any of your personal data is exposed. You'll learn about it before one of these companies is forced to notify you. I highly recommend you do this today, because the only thing most of these companies are ever going to give you is free credit monitoring. I'm not going to leave myself and my family vulnerable to these breaches, and you don't want to do so either. Remember, go to aura.com/thequartering, get your 14-day free trial. I actually do use the app, and I love it. So link in the description. Let's get to this lady.
Take the hat off so I can finish my lesson. Take the hat off in my classroom, and I'm not going to say it again.
Why not? There's no rule against it. If he was wearing a hat that said F Drumpf, pretty sure she'd be fine with it.
So my hat's distracting you from teaching the lesson?
Okay.
Oh, can't do that. That's assault, Tommy. Can't do that. Can't put your hands on them. Absolutely cannot touch them. That is a crime.
Hat off. I asked you nicely. Now I'm finna act unruly.
I like how she's like reverting to her street vernacular.
Hat off. I asked you nicely. Now I'm finna act unruly because I asked you nicely to take the hat off.
You just touched me.
I touched the hat. I didn't
Doesn't matter.
touch you. And if you want to remain in my classroom,
You're not going to touch me or my mom.
okay, you can get out. You can get out.
I'm not leaving. I'm here just as aware as everyone else is.
Oh.
Teach your lesson then.
I'm not.
Yeah, do your job. I'm not gonna say the word. Do your job. This is what you're paid to do, so do your job. It's so wild. Remember when was it, like 2016, 2017? All these teachers were having total meltdowns and doing whatever the heck they want to in terms of, bullying students. This Chad is allowed to wear his Trump hat unless there's a rule against any political wear, where, as far as I know, that does not indicate it. By the way, this isn't exactly an appropriate dress for a teacher, but that's up neither here nor there. You may be thinking, is this an old video? I assure you something is coming up that is amazing and will prove it is not an old video.
Teaching a lesson until you get out.
I'm not getting out.
I feel very disrespected.
I feel very disrespected. Okay, feel disrespected. Do your job. This kid's tuition is what is paying for your job. I don't know if this is a tech school or what. I don't know.
That's what's wrong with. Oh my God, are you you kidding me? That is 100% what's wrong with everybody. You guys are too soft, and you try to make it personal. This ain't personal. This is history, baby. And if you're going to be teaching history, you better teach it on the right side. Because look, you still got this silly ass map up here. Gulf of Mexico, my ass. It's Gulf of America for one.
Based. Please, I hope this isn't a skit. I really hope this isn't a fake skit, because, like, you know, this alpha giga Chad, just, this is history. It's Gulf of America. Based.
First of all, the language that you use, and you need to watch that. The lack of disrespect.
Get your hands out of his face.
Get out.
The lack of disrespect, you just put your hands on me. Ain't going nowhere. No, you can't.
You can't touch him.
Get out. No. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out, man. Get out. Fuck this guy. Get out.
That was a crime committed. Big crime. Now, I don't know. He's kind of old. The fact that this might be a skit, I don't know. But it's new if it's not. So, you know, I'm not sure. And the fact that people are saying he's old, I mean, he's, you know, in his 20s. He's not that old. But everyone else around him is young. So, I mean, I don't know. You know, I don't know, but I think it's pretty hilarious. And that's what's happening at a lot of these kind of woke universities, woke colleges. They are there. They have one purpose. And you know how many of them also take a bunch of money from China? A lot of them. A lot of them take an absolute pile of money from China. And why do you think that is? Why do you think that China pours all this money into our universities? You know? Even if this is scripted, this kind of thing is happening all over the country. You know? Trump administration sows panic. Oh, let's go to the defunding the universities first. Trump freezes federal funds to woke Cornell, Northwestern universities over civil rights violations. The Trump administration has frozen over $1 billion in federal funding to Cornell University and another $790 million for Northwestern University over potential civil rights violations at prestigious schools. The freeze affects grants and contracts connected to the agricultural, education, defense, health, and human health and services departments. Northwestern told Fox News that the university has not received any official notification from the federal government, and it found out through the media. Based. Both Cornell and Northwestern were included on a list of 60 colleges and universities that the Department of Education Civil Rights Branch warned earlier this month that they will lose federal funding in response to not addressing anti-Semitic discrimination and harassment on campus. Now, here is where we're going to break, okay? I think it's hilarious because this type of behavior on college campuses is exclusively coming from the woke left, and it's affecting the ability of other students to, you know, get their educations. And by the way, that includes Jewish students, but it's also all sorts of everybody else, right? What I don't agree with is infringing on First Amendment rights to protect a group of people like this. You know, this, I don't, let me file it this way. I also saw this weird thing where on like immigration, we're going to start scrubbing people's social media posts to see if they ever tweeted anything deemed anti-Semitic before we allow them to immigrate to this country. I don't agree with that either. Look, again, as I've always said, I don't have any problem with Jewish people. I have deep questions about the Israeli government's involvement in the United States government and vice versa. But if somebody does, say, for example, have a problem with Jewish people and they want to say it out loud, that's what the First Amendment is for. And any infringement on that is something that I cannot support. So this, in a way, is at least a end-around infringement on these students' First Amendment rights. That said, I don't care because these are all woke dorks. We've seen how they act. I don't care about him freezing the funds. If they try to codify this stuff into law or anything like that, then I have a big problem with it. These are all universities that have been captured by Chinese money, DEI money, and they have the sole purpose of radicalizing woke left rich white kids into ruining their lives by, you know, breaking into buildings, hurting, you know, attacking security guards, all this kind of stuff, all while somebody else is paying $80,000 a year for their education. Okay, so I don't care. Cornell professor Russell Rickford said the following, you know, following whatever happened on October 7th, that he was exhilarated and energized by the atrocities. He was not disciplined or punished, but placed on voluntary leave. Shortly thereafter, returned to the classroom and continued teaching. Northwestern has been dogged by criticism over its handling of anti-Israel protests on campus and failure to address it towards students. My biggest critique here, why not make this like you're taking the money away over, you know, radicalization on the campus? That's something that everyone could support. But when you say that it's like, you know, because you're protecting, you know, Jewish people exclusively, I'm not a big fan of that. The freeze comes less than a week after the Trump admin paused over $1 billion to Brown University following its failed response to all sorts of other bad behavior on campus the week of after October 7th. The federal government has frozen funds to many colleges, including universities placed under investigation, including Penn, Columbia, Washington, University of Washington, Princeton, Harvard, following concerns of this same type of activity. Columbia University had over $400 million in federal funding revoked earlier this month. A federal anti-Semitism task force announced a review of Harvard's federal grants worth nearly $9 billion. The bigger story here is how come we're giving these universities that are charging $80,000 a year so much money in taxpayer money? It's crazy. But Trump didn't stop there. Trump administration now sows panic at California universities after revoking over 100 student visas. I think you should revoke nearly all of them. If you can't get, you know, I don't have any problem if Trump simply ended the student visa program, period, right now. Maybe unless you're coming from Canada or something like that. Like, at least until we can figure out where this pipeline of radicals is coming from, I'm 100% fine with Trump simply pausing that. California State University confirmed Tuesday that the government revoked 36 current and former students, while University of California said 50 students and recent graduates had had their visas voided. Representatives from several California universities said they were not provided any detailed reasons for their terminations, and by the way, they aren't owed one. Maybe the individual who had their visa reviewed or revoked is owed one, but the university isn't owed one. And maybe stop importing Terry sympathizers. I know that seems like a wild and crazy idea in current year, but maybe stop importing people who are spreading literal Hamas and Hezbollah propaganda on our student campuses. You know, we have enough problem with our own overweight white women doing that. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you'll check out Aura, and we'll talk to you again real soon.